Rajesh Kothari is now joining us, Managing Director at Alpha Accurate Advisors. Rajesh, good to have you here as always. Thanks very much. You know, there was this, Nimesh earlier was highlighting this call from Morgan on names like Tata Chemicals. Actually, on Tata Chemicals, there was a big upgrade there. Stock's doing fairly okay today. The thesis is, the relocation of chemical manufacturing from China to India. Soda ash, which is a large chunk of the business, is doing very well. Tightness remains. Any thoughts on that one or a 100% soda ash player like GHCL?
While generally we do not invest in commodity stocks, the businesses who have a direct exposure to commodities, we avoid such companies in our portfolio. But having said that, I think one theme which is clearly emerging, and we are doing further research on that theme, is Europe plus one. So China plus one is a well-known story. I think a lot of theses have been already written on it. But Europe plus one is increasingly becoming the new opportunity. It is an advantage India clearly in such a scenario. And with the spiraling energy cost in Europe, a lot of production capacities are probably going to become unviable, at least in the short term, if not in the medium term. And that will force European companies to look at countries like India, because China is already having its own problems. So there are not many countries which can probably has a what I would say this kind of an opportunity to capitalize. So India clearly fits that bill, and there are many companies and many sectors which will get additional boost out of this European crisis.
Okay, fair enough. Rajesh, good afternoon. So any new stocks that you have added to your portfolio, which you may be at liberty to discuss? Any new themes?
Hi, good afternoon, Anuj. Nothing new theme perspective. As I'm saying, the one theme which is emerging, which I just discussed right now, is the Europe plus one theme. And I was just looking at last week entirely, many of our portfolio companies, how they are positioned to get benefit out of this. And surprisingly, in last particularly 10 days or so, there are good announcements by companies. Just to give one example, we are holding one company, Schneider Electric, in our AAA emerging giants. Please put a disclaimer. And this company has announced the capital expenditure of 130 crores. Primarily, I think it is for exports. And they are going to expand the capacity almost 2.5 times over next 4 or 5 years. So I think this is just the beginning. If you ask me, there are a number of companies which are looking at making India as a, what I would say, reliable source for manufacturing. China was basically just outsourcing, whereas this is captive manufacturing done by Europe in their own plants, correct? Which they now plan to shift maybe X percentage, maybe 5, maybe 10, maybe 15. It varies from company to company. And particularly, it will benefit the companies which already have a base in India. So multinationals having subsidiaries in India will be the first choice. It is a very obvious thing because they already have the ready infrastructure. Land is already there. Probably you just need to do greenfield in terms of either more brownfield, less greenfield. So from that perspective, you are not going to take 36 months to put up a new capacity. So I think it is an obvious choice. India is an obvious advantage, and there are many companies, particularly in capital goods, which are probably going to get benefit out of this. And likewise, there is also a bucket of companies which are already having a European customers. So customers' approvals are already in place. And those companies will also get very big benefit, and particularly that is in specialty chemical. So these two sectors are, I think they are clearly beneficiary of this Europe plus one theme.
Although, Rajesh, there's a problem with high energy costs in Europe, etc. But, these things usually get solved, right? One way or the other. I mean, so for example, there are gas issues. They will import more and more LNG, regasify. It's highly unlikely that things will they'll hurt for a while and then come back. So can one base a theme on that? Isn't this kind of transient?
I think it's a very interesting question what you ask. I think very important from any global company is a BCP plan, the business contingency plan. And I'm not saying they are going to do 100% from India. Definitely not. I'm also not saying that their plants will close down permanently. Again, definitely not. But can they do additional 5, 10%, 15%, depending upon each company? Can they do it from India? And that looks, what I would say, that's a possibility. As I'm saying, one of the company has already announced the capital expenditure program, already announced on the exchange. There is one more company, which is again part of our triple emerging giant, Schaeffler India. This is one of the top 3 bearing company in the world. They have actually announced this 1,000 crore capex much before this European energy crisis. But if you refer to the recent conference call transcript, the MD was very candid and he said that, there is an increasing possibility of higher exports from India to cater to the, European requirements. So there is no one fit kind of an answer. It varies from company to company. And, we are doing further studies, very detailed study on it. And maybe give me probably another 1 week or so, we may come out with more details on this. And probably then I can share, more about those companies and the sectors which can directly benefit out of this.
Anuj, have you wondered if it is China plus 1, it should be Europe plus 2, right?
I think
on a lighter note. Sorry, go on.
Yes. Yeah, I think the very good thing what you said is the important sign is plus. When the entire world is going through minus, India is actually seeing the plus sign. And I think that's happy news for all investors.
No, absolutely. And I would love to get your, as you said, you're still working on the theme. So maybe a week, 2 weeks later, we can have you back on with maybe slightly a deeper dive. Go on, Anuj.
Just by the way, just look at some of the 3 p.m. moves. Pull out Adani Enterprises intraday chart. You're seeing a bit of a sharp knife, sort of knockdown there.